So, how is everyone doing? Hopefully everything is good. Let me do a quick introduction for myself. My name is Ryan. I have been teaching at XCamp for around 4 years now, and the longest class that I've been teaching since I joined is actually this class, the 200 class, and it's my favorite class of all the classes that I've taught at XCamp. I think it's a very important class in the context of transitioning you from an introductory programmer to an advanced programmer, and it hammers home the idea of problem decomposition, which is like the most important aspect of competitive programming, in my opinion, or programming in general. Problem decomposition, you're going to hear me say this word a lot, and you're going to get very familiar with what it means. But in short, it's basically taking a big problem and breaking it down into smaller problems that are more manageable for you to solve. And then using those small problems, the solutions to them, merging those solutions together to get a solution to the big problem. So for the adults in the room, you might already know about what this means. Essentially, what the idea is, we do this in two different ways. We do this with iteration, and we do this with recursion. So the first bit of the class is going to be teaching you about iteration and teaching you about learning how we can use iteration to solve problems. And then we transition to recursion and learning how we can use recursion to solve those exact same problems that we learned with iteration. Now, the elephant in the room is that we also are going to be teaching you C++ at the same time. So it's kind of two parallel things that are going to be happening. All of our in-class activities are going to be language inclusive, so you can do Python or C++ based on your comfortableness level, but the final exam will be in C++. So if you have this semester to learn C++, and then at the end you'll be transitioned fully to C++, and then next semester in 201 you'll be you'll be learning everything in C++. So we're going to be teaching you at the same time C++ as iteration and recursion. Okay, so that's a high-level overview of what we're going to be teaching at this class. Does anyone have any questions about that? Victor, are you the AI class person? I am, yeah. So I have recently started teaching a new class at XCamp called the AI class. But I don't know yet if that's now a favorite class better than 200 yet. 200 has always been my favorite class, and every time that I've been teaching it for the last many years, it's always been my favorite. Okay, so we're going to quickly get started with some general things. So how many people here are new to XCamp? Did you do like a round of hands up if anyone here is new? Okay, a good few people are new. That's great. So we're going to go through some of the things that are specific to XCamp, and we're also going to go through, for everyone here that's not new to XCamp, that's been here before, some of the things that have changed this semester in terms of how the classes are going to look. So let me share my screen here. So this is going to be about the class information. So basically, to find more information about the class, you can look at the information tab in the learning site. So does everyone have access to this learning site, to the XCamp Learn site? Yeah, if not, feel free to message me and I can help you get access to that. The class coordinator can also help you with that. If you go to the top here and you click information, you can actually find a lot of information about this course. So you can find the Zoom link that you're all currently on right now. You can find the time of our office hours by our TA, Toto. You can find the Zoom link for that office hours. And we also have some extra information. We have this new thing called the homework night, which was new last semester. So hopefully a lot of you have been to that, but if not, I'll explain what that is. And I'll also explain what discourse is. Awesome. So let's keep going. So the syllabus, if you want to find the syllabus, you can actually find that right here. If you go to the course content XCamp 200 and you click syllabus, you can find the syllabus. And this is just explaining everything that I explained at the beginning of the class. So at the end of the class, you'll be able to solve problems that are pretty advanced recursive problems. And you'll also be able to take the next class, which is CS 201, where we finally teach you depth-first search and grid search problems. So how do you navigate through a maze, and how do you solve mazes, and how do you do things like that? So it's very, very interesting. Now, this is the set of things that we're going to do for each week. So this week, we're going to introduce C++, and we're going to do as much C++ as we can do in 1 week, just to get everyone up to speed. And then I'm going to introduce how do you do the rest of C++. So after you've learned the basics today, we're going to teach you how do you get more advanced by the end of the semester. We're going to talk about iteration next week. Then I'm going to introduce problem decomposition. Then I'm going to introduce recursion, and we're going to do a lot of recursive practice and a lot of difficult recursive problems. We're going to do some advanced recursion. Then we're going to do iteration versus recursion and compare when do you need iteration, when do you need recursion. And then that final week, we're going to do divide and conquer, which is a special case of problem decomposition that's very useful and very important. So does anyone have any questions about that, about any course material slash more bureaucratic things about what time the class is and how often they are and things like that? Did I have to do the homework before this class? No, there is no homework required before this class. There is a C++ optional course. So here's the XCamp C++ transition, which gives you materials and homework problems and slides and things like that that help you get up to speed on C++. But this is open for the entire semester, so you can do this whenever you want. I would recommend doing it like sooner rather than later because we're going to be using C++ for most of the semester. But again, I said that we're doing yeah, that's fine. That's fine, Jimmy. If you did all the videos and you did all the problems and you just didn't do one, that's okay. Are you going to post it all at one time? No, we're going to post it about 1 week at a time because we don't want students to feel like they're overloaded and have to do everything at once. So we're going to post it 1 week at a time and just try to do it 1 week at a time. It's not very difficult. It usually will take maybe 15 or 20 minutes, but that's just an extra homework thing that you can do. So you'll notice that this class will have lighter homework in the actual course than you're used to. So for example, in this week, the homework will be, this week might be a lot of homework because there's a lot of introductory stuff. Oh, 4 questions, yeah. So these are pretty simple questions. And then in the XCamp C++ transition, week 1 homework, you'll have another like 4 questions or something. But the C++ questions are much easier. They're things like, oh, add 2 numbers together in C++ because you're meant to transition your knowledge that you already know about Python into C++. And that's much easier than learning C++ from scratch, that's for sure. Okay, so let's quickly finish up with the teaching slides. So here we go. All right, so again, as you all know, we have all the classes are going to be conducted online in Zoom meetings just like this one. It'll be exactly the same format. Everyone will join, and the students will have their webcams turned on during the class, and we're actually going to start recording participation and recording attendance in this way. And I, especially as a teacher, would really be very, very happy if everyone was going to be proactive in class. So when I ask questions, try to answer it. When I put you in breakout rooms to discuss with your team, actually discuss with your team and don't just sit there with your mic muted. And most importantly, I think, is to participate in the coding practice. So oftentimes during a class, I'll say, okay, everyone take 5 minutes and try to implement this algorithm in Python or in C++, and then post your code onto Discourse. And I'll explain how Discourse works. But Discourse is like an online forum platform, kind of like Stack Overflow. But I will post an attendance question and people can post replies to that with their code. And if you complete that, that gives you attendance for the week. So attendance is sort of like 3 different things. Number 1, it's actually coming to class and being in the Zoom itself. Number 2 is having your camera on and interacting during the Zoom. So you could be here with your camera off, and that is less evidence than this final thing, which is to actually proactively answer questions and do the discourse practice. So any questions about the structure? Awesome. Okay. So homework, this is a very important thing. And the definition of this has kind of changed over the last few semesters. So I want everyone to be very aware of what this is. So XCamp homework is not like homework that you have at school. It's very different. Homework at XCamp is not meant to be something that you just need to do as a like proof that you know it. Homework is actually a way to learn in itself. It's not a proof that you've learned something in school. It's actually a learning process. And that's why it's much more difficult than you might find that the homework at school. Because at school, they teach you how to do addition, and then you go home and do addition. But here we teach you an algorithm, and you have to apply this algorithm to new cases that you've never seen before and in new ways that you've not seen before. And that's the really important thing. So because of this, do not expect to get 100% all the time. It's actually very rare at XCamp. We do the statistics, and you can look, and it's very rare that people get 100% every single time. I expect that the average would be something like 60% all the time. And you shouldn't feel bad if that's what you get, because although in school seeing that you have a 60% might not be good, in XCamp, that's actually very, very good. It means that 60% of the time, you've actually been able to generalize your knowledge and learn new things. And the biggest thing, this is my most important topic, is that I value upsolving after explanation. So upsolving is what our CEO Yuan calls the solving problems after the deadline, after you know the solution. So even if I go through the code in class and I say, okay, so this is how you have to solve that problem, there's still a lot of value, an immense amount of value, if you just go through and actually solve the problem yourself afterwards. don't copy and paste my code. That's not going to help you. But instead, actually go through and remember, what did Ryan say in class last week? Okay, now let me see if I can try to write that code. And because of this, we made that all homework's no longer due at the end of the week. Homework is now due at the end of the semester. So you can do it whenever you want, as long as you do it before the end of the semester. But the problem is, if you leave it all to the end of the semester, you're going to have a difficult time at the end of the semester. So I encourage everyone to do the homework before the next class. If you have difficulty doing it before that class, come to the homework night, and I'll explain what that is soon, and then you will be good. Now, if the homework completion rate is low for more than 2 weeks, we will talk to the parents, but this is not in any way like a punishment, because again, I said that the homework is due at the end of the semester. It's just to make sure that nobody gets more than 2 weeks behind. Because if you're falling 2 weeks behind, it's likely that there's something fundamental that you're missing in the class. So it's very important that you stay up to date with your homework. Okay, so you don't lose points for submitting it late, but we do want to check in with your parents to make sure that you're not submitting it late because you don't understand. You could be just not submitting it late because you don't want to do it or something else, but that's a different reason. Okay. Really importantly is the problem-solving process. So how do you go from a problem definition on XCamp's website and how do you end up with a passing program? It's really simple. You read the problem and you make sure that you understand exactly what the problem is asking. And to prove that you know what the problem is asking, try the sample input and sample output to make sure that the sample input is correct for the sample output. Or sorry, the sample output is correct for the sample input. And then think about how you can solve the problem using what you learned. And I'll give you a hint. It's likely that the homework for that week is using the algorithm that we taught that week. Okay, so that makes sense. It's a pretty good first step. So say, how can I use what we just covered in lecture to solve this problem? And then if you still are unable to, we have homework hint videos. So all of the homeworks have hint videos, and I'll give you an example of what that looks like. If you go, for example, to this week's homework, and there is a problem like this one, you can see hello OI. If you click this little hint button, it'll actually open up a video of one of our XCamp staff walking you through a hint for how to solve this problem. Okay. And then after you try this, you can watch the hint, then you try to solve the problem. So once you're done with that, then you test the code, make sure it works. If it works, you're good. If it doesn't work and you're still struggling, you can go to the office hours. So again, you can see the office hours on the information tab. I won't go back there because I need to get back to here. But you can do that. And then you can also then go code your solution again after you go to the office hours. And then if that still doesn't work, go to the homework night. So we do have a homework night, which is every single night from 5 to 8 p.m. We have a bunch of TAs all in one Zoom where all students from all different classes can come in and ask questions about their homework. And then we'll have TAs there for feeding through and solving all the problems for students and helping people out. It's a very, very important thing. And you'll get much faster results than if you put a post on Discourse or if you email a professor or something. What is OI? Good question, Victor. OI is what we're going to be talking about today. It's output and input. And we'll talk about it for like 10 minutes today. Okay, and then after that, you submit your work and you test it. And if then it still doesn't work after doing all these things, then you can watch the solution video that walks you through a solution. And then after you watch the solution video, you should know how to do it. Okay, so this is the homework night. Homework night is hosted every day from 5 to 8 p.m. All students are encouraged to join the Zoom, and they work on their homework with their peers. So you don't have to go to homework night only if you have a question. You can just go to homework night to work if you want. So you go to the homework night, you keep the Zoom open, and you work on your code. And if you ever come up with an issue while you're coding your problems, then you can ask for help right there, right then and there. So it's like a live lab, basically. And I think it's very, very important. It's very, very helpful. And it's also very motivating to see that you're in a Zoom with 100 other students that are all coding as well. It's kind of motivating. And it's there every single day. So you have no excuse, no deadlines or anything that would prevent you from coming. You'll always have once a week or so that you can do it. And I would encourage everyone to do it if you can. Okay, so again, we have hint and solution videos. And the hint video is available right after the homework is released. And then we have a solution video that is released 2 days after the homework is. So that's just to make sure that not everyone is just instantly watching the solution video and coding it. Because if you really want to learn, you can't just do that. You have to actually look at the problem and then try it yourself before watching the solution video. All right, so the solution video actually has code solutions there. Okay, quickly, I've mentioned Discourse a few times, but I haven't actually explained what that is. Discourse is an online platform. and it's teacher guarded. So we have TAs and teachers on there to make sure that all the discussions are civilized and appropriate. And we try to provide an answer within 1 day to every single question. So again, this is not as fast as if you came to the homework night, because if the homework night, you get live feedback instantly. It's pretty good. So if you have a more nuanced question that's longer, you can ask it here. People post questions as posts and they get answers as replies. And it's basically student-to-student communication. It's students able to communicate with each other and talk about questions that they have, and other students can help students if there's questions. So here's actually what the discourse looks like for everyone here. Oh, sorry, hold on. This is not the discourse. Here it is. So this is what the discourse looks like, where you have the different categories for each of the levels. So here's the 200 level that everyone's going to be in. And you have all the posts that people have. And you can go through and click a new topic and make a question that you have. So you can ask a question. And remember, you put in the problem ID, you put in the code submission ID, and then you put in the code right here. Okay, and this is the discourse. And you can go and help other students, and you get cheers if you help other students. And this is the leaderboard of all the students that help the most. All right, cool. So we're nearly done. This is a flow chart for what you should do when you need help with your homework. So after the class homework, you should look, if you have no clue about how to start with your homework, you should just go to the hint video, right? As I said before, if you failed several attempts after watching the hint video, then you should watch the solution video that's released after 2 days. Right? And this is if there's a time conflict or a high level class, you can go to discourse, for example. So if you're in a high level class and you can't watch the solution video or something like that, then you can go to the discourse and post there, and then we'll get a TA reply in 24 hours. So the solution video, sometimes the solution videos are not in depth enough if you're doing a very difficult class. But for 200, the solution videos will be relatively short. So you don't need to worry too much about this issue. If you still have a question after that, you can go to the office hours and get one-on-one help from a TA. And you can also at all times go to the homework night just to do the homework with the TAs and peers present. Okay. And this will help you get a priority reply on discourse too. All right. Now for all the students here, if you forget any of this, it's all laid out in the student guidebook here that explains things like how do you view materials? How do you do homework? How do you submit homework? How do you debug problems in your homework? That's all laid out in the student guidebook here. All right, we also have a class coordinator for this class, and you've all probably communicated with the class coordinator as well. But what the class coordinator does is follows up with students, monitors the test completion, and reports to me, saying that there's students that are falling behind in homework rates. They collect requirements from students and parents. So parents, if you have any complaints about me, or if you have any positive things to say about me, you feed that to the CC, and then the CC will talk to the relevant person. So if the relevant person is me, they'll talk to me. The relevant person is one of the managers at XCamp, it'll be one of them. And what they'll talk about is, for example, if there's something that you don't like about the class or something that you think I should do to improve, I'd be happy to hear it there. And I won't be offended if that's the case, because I'm always trying to find new ways to improve with my teaching. And this is also where you can ask for things like, is my student ready for doing USECO Bronze? Or am I ready to do a summer course in this? Or is there any classes that are relevant? Is there any other XCamp things that we offer that can help my student? And that is everything that I wanted to go over. But we have a few minutes now to go over any questions that any parents might have, anything besides that about XCamp or about 200 or about anything. Anything at all? Okay. So if there's no questions, then I guess we can get started with class today. But everyone, if you have a question that comes up later, or if someone is watching the recording and has a question, feel free to just message in the WeChat group and I'll try to answer you there. Right? Awesome. Cool. Okay, so then I guess we are done with the teacher meeting. I'm very excited for this semester, so I hope that everyone is as well. We will get started with the class. So if you are a parent, could you please swap seats and put the students back in charge? We can get started with this semester. All right. How's everyone doing? So I like to start this class off with a few questions to figure out what the level of everyone is and how everyone feels about the course so far. So let's go through programming languages. So who here knows how to program in Python? Let's just do hands up if you know how to program in Python. Okay. It's okay if you don't. It's okay if your hands are down, but just like put your hands up either in Zoom or in person if you have your camera on. We can talk about it. Okay, now everyone put your hands back down. Who here knows how to program in a language other than Python? Oh, most of you. Okay. Victor, what language do you program in other than Python?
I can do some Java.
Java. Very good. Siddharth, what about you?
Java.
Java as well. Anyone other than Java? Any other languages other than the Java? Betsy?
Python.
Python. Very good. So other than Python or Java, anything else? Olivia?
The C++.
Oh, I was hoping no one would say C++. So we're teaching C++ in this course, but I think that puts you at a bit of an edge, Olivia, if you've already done it. How advanced would you say was the C++? Was it to the same level as your Python knowledge?
I don't really know about Python or Java. I'm
Oh.
starting Java at some point, but just mainly C++.
Okay, cool. So I guess that's no problem at all. Anyone else other than C++, Java, or Python? Any other languages? I don't see anyone else. Any other hands? All right, I have my hand up. I have one language that's not Java, Python, and C++. I program in Lisp. Has anyone heard of Lisp before? No? It's this programming language that was invented in the 60s, I think, at MIT to do AI research. Because it's a completely object-oriented, really cool programming language. It's really hard to program in, but it's very, very satisfying when it works. So nobody uses it for competitive programming for reasons that it's just hard to code in, but it's very pretty and very beautiful and nice and satisfying. Okay, so for everyone here, we have a bit of good diversity in terms of what class everyone has and what languages everyone's used to. So let's try to do a quick comparison about Python to C++. So we're teaching C++ in this course. Does anyone have any ideas about why we're teaching C++? Sorry about that. I just have to close my window. Okay, so everyone is saying faster. It runs faster than Python. Okay, so why does it matter if it runs faster than Python? Exactly. The code that you have will not exceed the time limit usually. So that's great. Okay. So today we're going to be talking about Python to C++ and introduce everything. So I think what we should do really quickly before we get started is I want this class to be I want everyone to know who everyone else is so we can all have a relatively good cohesive learning environment. So I want everyone to know the relevant rules for the class are, just so everyone's respectful of each other, is make sure you put your hand up before you talk, unless I say anyone shout out the answer, and then you can shout out the answer. Also, make sure you're respectful of all the other students. That goes without saying, but that's never been a problem, so I don't worry about that. And make sure that you are trying your best to put your hand up as much as possible. And if I notice that I ask a question and nobody volunteers to answer, I will call on people at random. And it's okay if I call at you at random and you don't know the answer, right? It's much better to just say, oh, I don't know the answer. How do I figure it out? And then I'll help you find out the answer from like first principles. Okay. All right, so let's just do a quick round of introductions from everybody. So can you just say your name and your, I guess what city you live in and where, like what city and state, and that's it. So just say, hi, my name is blank and I live here. So I'll start. My name is Ryan and I live in Amherst, Massachusetts. All right, so in the order on my screen, I'll call people out and then you can just say your name and then where you live. So Dustin.
My name is Dustin, and I live in Irvine, California.
Cool. Hi, Dustin. All right, Ethan.
Hello, I'm Ethan. I live in San Jose, California.
Cool. Zima.
My name is Emo, and I live in Issaquah, Washington.
Cool. Lucas.
My name is Lucas and I live in Irvine, California.
Cool. Victor.
My name is Victor. I live in Lexington, Kentucky.
Awesome. Yushin.
My name is Yuchen and I live in San Jose, California.
Nice. Jimmy. Oh, are you okay? You can't talk? Okay. Derek.
My name is Derek and I live in Bellevue, Washington.
Very cool. All right, so Jimmy's introduction, I'll read it. Hi, my name is Jimmy. I live in Medina, Washington also, I think. Is that what you said, Derek?
I said Bellevue.
Oh, Bellevue. Okay. And his mic is broken. I guess that's the fun fact. Eric?
Hi, my name is Eric and I live in San Jose, California.
Wow, we have a big San Jose presence. Olivia?
Hi, my name is Olivia and I live in Scotland, St. Andrews.
Very cool. Nielsen?
Hello, I'm Yosin, and I live in Duval, Washington.
Very cool. Claire?
Hi, my name is Claire and I live in San Jose, California.
Very cool. And Rita?
Hi, my name is Anita. I live in San Jose, California.
Awesome. Isabel?
Hi, I'm Isabel and I live in Cupertino, California.
Cool. Aiden?
I'm Aiden. I also live near San Jose.
Very cool. Betsy?
My name is Betsy and I live in Cupertino, California.
Well, very big California presence. All right, Michael?
My name is Michael. I live in San Jose, California.
Awesome. Samantha?
My name is Samantha and I live in San Jose, California.
Awesome. Siddharth?
My name is Siddharth and I live in Pleasanton, California.
Very cool. And Jason?
Hi, my name is Jason and I live in Austin, Texas.
Very cool. And we have iPhone number 3. I don't know who that is, but whoever that is, if you are a person, could you say your name? And I will note that that's who you are. So if your name does not match what you normally go by, could you change your name to something that you go by? Because I also have on my other screen a attendance sheet, and if your name doesn't match what's on the attendance sheet, then that makes it hard for me to do attendance. All right. Awesome. So let's get started. Okay. And feel free at any point to just interrupt me if I'm talking and something doesn't make sense. If you just put your hand up in Zoom, I will see it. It'll flash up on my screen and I'll stop talking and answer your question. If you put your hand up in real life, I will try my best to look at it. I have you all on my other monitor. So if I'm not looking at that monitor, it'll be hard for me to tell if you have your hand up, but just, I think you'll figure it out. It's not that difficult. Okay. So let's talk about the content for this class. We already said that we're going to be doing C++, and you can find the C++ course here in the course content window. So if you go to this course content window, you can click here, XCamp C++ transition, and this will have all the C++ content. So that's going to explain, this is going to have a lot of material that you can go through 1 week at a time to learn C++. And it's completely asynchronous, so there's videos and there's no lecture that you need. So this is like an extra portion of homework. The videos are often like 10 minutes long. You just watch through those, you can skip through them or watch them at 2 times speed or something like that. And that'll help you understand the materials, or you can just go through the slides, make sure you understand everything in the slides, and then attempt the homework problems. Okay. Now, for taking notes, you don't need to take notes in this class. I think that it might help some people if you remember better if you take notes. But what I encourage you to do is to actively learn. So don't just look at the information that I give you and just put it in your head and keep it there. Use the information so that it sticks in your memory for longer. It's like long-term memory. So if you learn a new algorithm, try it in your free time to implement that algorithm and see if you can apply the knowledge that we learn in this class together. Okay, so let's look at a basic C++ program. Right, so this is the basic structure of a C++ program. You have four main things here, and we're going to go through each of those four things in turn. Okay, so there's a line here that says hashtag include IOStream. That's kind of confusing at first. We have a line that says using namespace standard. We have a line that says int main, and then we have a line that says cout hello world. Okay. So I want everyone to guess. Now, it doesn't count if Olivia does this because you already know what C++ means. I want someone that doesn't know C++ to tell me what each of these lines does. Okay, so let's just, who wants to tell me what the first line does? It's completely okay if you're wrong. You don't have to know completely, but you can guess from what it says what it does. Victor, you want to do the first one?